Hello everyone. So today we are going to study one of the most important act, that is Government of India Act of 1935. Now this act contained 321 sections and 10 schedules, and it was the second milestone towards a completely responsible government in India. So now let us see what were the features of this act. Feature number one, it provided for the establishment of an all India federation consisting of provinces and princely states as units. Now, first of all, let's understand the difference between provinces and princely states. So, provinces means those states, those areas where the British government had its rule, and the princely states are those which were ruled by the king or the prince, जहां ब्रिटिश का राज नहीं था. जहां ब्रिटिश का राज था उन्हें प्रोविंसेस कहते हैं, और जहां राज नहीं था वहां एक राजा का राज था या प्रिंस का राज था, तो दोज आर कॉल्ड एज प्रिंसली स्टेट्स. So, feature number one, it provided for the establishment of an all India federation consisting of provinces and princely states as units. Now, what happened? The Act divided the powers between the center and its units in terms of three lists. The first list was Federal List for center with 59 items. The second list was Provincial List for provinces with 54 items, and the concurrent list for both with 36 items. So even now we know there is a state list, there is a center list, and there is a concurrent list. So in this case, the act divided the powers between center and units in terms of federal list, which was that is for the center, provincial list, which was for the provinces which were ruled by the British government, and the concurrent list, that means which was for both of them. Now the residuary powers were given to the viceroy. However, the federation never came into being as the princely states did not join it. Now this did not happen because the princely states denied to join it. Now the second feature was it abolished diarchy in the provinces and introduced provincial autonomy in its place. Now we have seen in the previous video that what is a diarchy? It comes from the word diarch, which means double rule, right? So this act completely abolished this system. The provinces were allowed to act as autonomous units of administration in their defined spheres. Moreover, the act introduced responsible governments in provinces, that is, the governor was required to act with the advice of ministers responsible to the provincial legislature. This came into effect in 1937 and was discontinued in the year 1939. So the system of diarchy was abolished, and it was decided that the government would become more responsible. So it would be run by the governor, and the provinces would be run by the governor in consultation with the ministers, and they would be responsible to the provincial legislature. But this came into effect in the year 1937, लेकिन इसको 1939 में discontinue कर दिया गया. Now let us see another feature. It provided for the adoption of diarchy at the center. So now understand this. At the center it is saying कि we should have diarchy, but at the provincial level it is saying to abolish it. So it provided for the adoption of diarchy at the center. Consequently, the federal subjects were divided into reserved subjects and transferred subjects. Now we had studied it in the previous video about reserved subjects and transferred subjects. However, this provision of the act did not come into operation at all. So even this did not happen. So now there are 2 points to be noted here. One of the feature of the act was to abolish diarchy in the provinces, right? But that did not happen. That happened for 4 years. That happened from 1937, but then it was closed in 1939. That is for 2 years. Now it provided for adoption of diarchy at the center, but that did not work at all. Now, it also introduced the concept of bicameralism for 6 out of 11 provinces. And that is the reason that today the legislatures of Bengal, which is now called as Kolkata, Bombay, which is now called as Mumbai, Madras, Bihar, Assam, and United Provinces were made bicameral, consisting of a legislative council, that is upper house, and a legislative assembly, that is lower house. So basically, लोक सभा और विधान सभा का कॉन्सेप्ट एटलीस्ट 11 में से 6 प्रोविंसेस के लिए इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाएगा. इसलिए आप देखेंगे बहुत जगह पे यू डोंट हैव एन अपर हाउस, यू ओनली हैव अ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. लोकसभा ही होती है कुछ कुछ स्टेट्स में, राज्यसभा नहीं होती. ओके. However, many restrictions were placed on them. Now, moving on to the next feature, it extended the principle of communal representation. So it said that let's extend the principle of communal representation by providing separate electorates for depressed classes, scheduled castes, women and laborers. Now, if you remember, when we studied about the communal reward, communal award, which was a concept introduced by the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald, where he said that the separate electorate should also be there for depressed classes, that is scheduled caste, and Gandhiji did not agree to this, and Gandhiji went on to fast unto death in Yerwada jail, and later he was convinced and a Pune Pact was signed. So this act said that let's extend the principle of communal representation to the depressed classes also. Now, moving on to the next feature, it abolished the Council of India established by the Government of India Act of 1958. So the Council of India, which was established by the Act of 1858, was abolished. The Secretary of State for India was provided with a team of advisors. All right. Coming to the next feature, it extended the franchisee. About 10% of the population got the voting rights. So now the voting rights were also getting extended, and 10% of the people now could actually vote. Another important point is it provided for the establishment of a Reserve Bank of India (RBI), which is known as today, to control the currency and credit of the country. Now, second last feature of the Act was it provided for the establishment of not only a Federal Public Service Commission but also a Provincial Public Service Commission and a Joint Public Service Commission for two or more provinces. So it's like UPSC, which is for the center, it is like PSC, which is for the state. So it made sure that there was a Federal Public Service Commission and there was a provincial and there was a Public Service Commission. Okay. And the last feature of the Act was it provided for the establishment of a federal court, which was established in the year 1937. So with this, we come to the end of this video. So these were the 10 features of the Act, Government of India Act of 1935. Hope you liked the video. In the next video, we'll talk about Indian Independence Act of 1947. And with that, we will conclude our first chapter of Indian polity, that is historical background. And then we will move on to the next chapter, which is called as making of the Constitution. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.